Welcome to Peter, and welcome to John Chandler as well. They're all starlets. I see Stephen Howe's down there. There's people coming in to watch the concert, and but we're so grateful to have Peter here performing for us. He's a good friend of the Swingaleles. He's performed for us twice out here, and he has taken me round by the hand round Sydney when he wanted me to show him a few historical facts, and we had to watch out going home that no one stood on our fingers. That was his problem. Yeah. But anyway, welcome Peter, and looking forward to hearing your show.
Thank you, Uncle. And I recognize so many faces. My goodness. Hello, John. I don't think your audio's sounding good, but hi, John and Evelyn. Hi, Barb. Where's Barb gone? There she is. Barb is my Aussie mum. She always looks after me when I visit. But so many people. Uncle John Coke, fantastic. So anyway, I love you all, and I guess it's time for me to play a bit. Is that right? Up then with this one. This is a little bit of a swing medley. So here we go. How about this one? Oh, wow. That warmed me up. I don't know about you.
Get mild applause round here. We're just in silence. But that was great, Pete. Well done.
Thanks. Thanks very much. Got the screen to see everybody over here, so you're going to see me doing a lot of this. So, but I can see you all, and you all look wonderful. If anybody's got a question now, I can take a question, and then I can go into some other style. What would you like to do? Somebody want to ask a question?
Ray Cortez, one off the floor. Peter, when you were here last time, apparently you played Nagila.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember what key you played
in? Yeah, it's in A minor.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I might touch on that later. I'll just make a note of it. Nagila in A minor. Cool.
Okay, that's for Ray. Okay, well, if I could just ask you another one from Ray Elliott. Do you ever use a low G string, or are you a traditionalist like him?
Yeah, I use the re-entrant. It's just the fact that as a child, when I was 8 years old and my father first introduced me to the ukulele, it was with a high G. And although I've played the low G, I find that this works better for me. Yeah, and also because these notes are quite close together, the G and the A there, basically I can use them in harmony. So if I'm doing something like Satin Doll, for example, if I just did one string, you've gone. But because I've got this one here, I can go. And with a low G, that just wouldn't work. So I guess the answer is I prefer the high G, but I wouldn't mind a low G one day. Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you.
Cool. Finger picking is something I've been doing for many years. When you have a sort of 4-beat to a bar sort of piece, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's the 4. It tends to be with finger picking, you kind of put twice as many things in. So you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the same time. So one day I was messing with this. And I thought, that's a really nice introduction. And I thought, what could go with it? And then I found this. There you go.
Lovely, Peter. Lovely, Peter. Well, I'll give you a little question here to fit in between the things here. Let me see. If you weren't playing the ukulele, Peter, what other instrument do you think you would like to play?
I've always I always keep saying to myself, one day I'm going to get round a keyboard. You know, I enjoy piano. I like sort of electric keyboards as well. The sort of Hammond sort of organ of the sort of 70s and 80s. It's a really great sound. And I keep saying one day I'm just going to have one in the house, and I'm just going to be there and try something different. So yeah, I'd like a Hammond organ is what I would like.
Cool.
Any other questions for now?
Well, the one I was thinking about was how you play so fast. How much of it is muscle memory? How much do you actually have to think about what you're actually doing?
Okay, that's a good question. That's a really good question. What tends to happen is, yes, you go on autopilot after you've done things for a while. You can't analyze what you're doing, because if you did, you'd come to a halt, because there's just so much going on in a short space of time. So I always say to people, start playing sort of slowly, and then gradually you'll find that the right hand especially gets quicker and quicker. So if I was doing something like a triple, like which is nice sort of sound, and I put a few together, by doing that over and over again, gradually you become but it doesn't come overnight. many hours trying to get that right. But the thing is not to try and play fast at the start. Get everything in time, get everything coming out as it should be, and then speed actually comes with experience and practice, of course. You know, the old 3 Ps: practice, practice, practice. So
Thank you.
I hope that answers the question. Okay. Sometimes when I'm looking for tunes, I don't sort of set out and say, right, I'm going to learn this song, right? It'll be something I'll hear on the radio, or we've got this thing with Alexa where you can just say, play me music in the style of blah, 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 blah. And then randomly tunes will come out, and it's wonderful. And I heard this piece and I thought that would make a nice ukulele solo, but I didn't set out to play it. It was literally, I was inspired when I heard it, and this is how it went. There you go, Nightingale sang in Berkeley Square, and it's now I enjoy playing it so much. It's now in all the live shows. So it just shows you by listening to music and getting inspiration, you know, you find a new song, and yeah, it's great. Any other questions?
Do you do many shows?
Sorry, Dave?
Does Peter do many shows, live shows?
Okay, so with COVID, everything came to a stop until about 4 weeks ago. And in the UK, everything started to open up again. So I've done 3 festivals in the last 4 weeks. And I've got another one at the bottom of the country in 2 weeks' time in the Isle of Wight. So that one's coming up. But 2020 was supposed to be my biggest tour or world tour, because I was going to go over to Perth, Australia. I was going to Germany 4 times, 4 different places, all over Europe, all over the UK, America, Canada, and COVID just stopped it. So what's basically happened is all the promoters have said they're postponements, they're not cancellations. So hopefully 2022 things will get going again. But normally, yes, I tour all the time. Yeah, so can't wait to get back.
That's actually was part of my question as well. But because besides all the touring you've done to America, New Zealand, Europe, the countries you mentioned, you also have now got another side in your international tutoring in the on the internet, Peter. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. So I do a private tuition type thing through a company called Patreon, and it's called Ukulele Shortcuts. And the idea is to share with people what I've learned over the last 50 years and kind of just take out the stuff that isn't really relevant. So you just get the meat on the bones, as it were. But I didn't just want to do a normal tutorial. I wanted to try and create a community. And so this coming Thursday, sorry, we've got this international Zoom meeting going on of all my Patreon students, and we've got people in Canada, we've got people in Los Angeles, we've got somebody in New Zealand. So it's going to be amazing just to see if everybody's awake because of all the different time zones and things. But it's great to see everybody, and everybody gets a chance to show what they've learnt. And I think if one person does it, that inspires somebody else to have a go, etc., etc. And I'm having fun with it. But recently, I've been associated with a company called Flight Ukuleles, and in fact, this is a flight here. And again, I was going to take this instrument across the world, but I've had to do online things instead. And they were really impressed with my commitment to them and, you know, putting their name out. And they're now going to build me, I can't believe this, they're going to build me a signature ukulele. So it's going to have my name on the actual fretboard. And it's going to be for sale around the world. I thought it was just going to be a custom uke for me, but it's going to be a Peter Moss signature ukulele, which will be available in 2022. So I'm really privileged to have that honour of a uke with my name. So I can't believe it. So thank you. I can see you applauding there. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Yeah. One of the people that inspired me as a child was George Formby, of course, but if you're playing melody, you'd look to perhaps America, and in New York there's a guy there, and his name was Roy Smeck. Now Roy Smeck would be probably 110 now, but he had a wonderful style with his right hand and everything, and much of what I learnt from him watching his sort of stuff is kind of in my sort of style of playing today. And one of the pieces I like to play is called Rockin' the Uke. So this is just my take on it. Here we go. A short version of it. Here we go. Thank you. I said it was a short version. No, here we go. Yeah.
Are there any other members that would like to ask a question of Peter?
That's phenomenal. Very phenomenal.
It is terrific, I know. Any questions from anyone else? Okay, well, I'll ask another one to keep on going. Let me see. Do you have any other hobbies, Peter, outside music, outside the ukulele?
Recently...
You have a life, you know.
Yeah, there's a life beyond ukulele. I think we're doing all the sort of online things. I've purchased some better equipment than just using a phone. I'm actually using here a Sony camera. and I have a variety of lenses. So in my spare time, when I'm not doing music, I'm learning photography. So that is my new thing. But of course, we've only just opened up in this country, so I haven't been able to do anything. But what I'd like to do is portrait photography. I'd really like to do that. So I'm doing a lot of research, watching a lot of things on YouTube, how to get the best lighting, the best lenses, etc., etc. So photography is my new thing. I believe John Stevenson had a question. He put his hand up, but I didn't hear him.
Oh, sorry.
Peter, when you're picking, you seem to use your thumb and your pointer finger, or your first finger,
Yep.
almost exclusively. Is that right? What I was watching there?
Well, as I was saying before, when I'm picking, I do tend to use thumb and index, and I'm doing this sort of pinch sort of technique. You can see that, yeah. When I was doing the rock and the uke, every single finger was being used to try and get everything in there, you know, because you've got to literally get, if I was doing that run, sort of. So if I bring other things in, every single finger's been used there to accomplish that. And of course, when you're doing fast finger picking, yeah, all of those are being used to create that sort of sound. So in answer to your question, yes, all fingers are used. Yeah, there's nothing left. Apart from tapping. That would be the only other thing I could do, yeah. So anybody else got a question? Just put your hand up and then we can see if you...
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Peter, what would be your practice routine, your warm-ups and things like that you would do to achieve?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yes, that's a good question. Yeah, so I would try and do something to warm both hands up. You know, that's the thing. So with this sort of hand, I like to do sort of... and that allows me basically to play fairly straightforward chords. And then I'd go to sort of first finger picks. So that sort of thing, doing that, that needs a lot of pressure there. So you can't come in cold and play those sort of chords. But notice when I was doing the, don't know if you can see it. That warms up the right hand. With the strumming, I might start with a simple strum sort of... then it might get putting some triples in. Or even a bit of Mr. Formby might end up in, you know. Then I'm ready to go. So.
Wonderful.
John Chandler, you've got a question.
Peter, good evening.
Hi.
Have you had a good Bakewell tart lately over there?
No, everything's been locked down. But I'm saving it for when you next visit us. So that's,
okay, I look forward to it. Thank you.
It was good, wasn't it? We had a day out in Bakewell, which is up in the hills, not too far away from here. And Bakewell's famous for Bakewell pudding and Bakewell tart. And yeah, I think John fell in love with it. Yeah. So and Evelyn, I can see you in the background.
Food. Hi, Pete.
Yeah, John is a great lover of food. We all know.
Food. That's right.
Really?
He's
Really?
He's got his bib on just now. You can tell.
What was that pie shop we went to, John? Heather Bray's, was it?
Heather Bray pies. There's two now, Peter. There's one on the north trip, north, and one down south if you're going to Canberra. So and no matter what direction you go, north or south, you can find a good Heather Bray pie shop. So when you come next time, don't worry. We'll look after you.
Oh, thank you. I don't know about everybody else, but with being sort of locked down and sort of a bit housebound, they tend to raid the refrigerator a lot more than you would normally if you're going out and about, sort of thing. So, is everybody nodding there? Yes, I think so. It's just too convenient, isn't it? Oh, there's a nice cherry pie there, or there's a nice, whatever. All bad stuff, and you should obviously take care. So I can't wait to get touring again because I stop eating then. One of the things, honestly, it's very hard to play sort of fast and put energy in when you've had something to eat. And I always fall for it because when I played the, what was it called, Unc? The fraternity club.
Yes.
So we have this big meal, right? It's a huge meal. It says, have what you want. And there's a big mountain full of food. And I've done it twice now where I've done that and then I've regretted it because I get on stage and I think, how am I going to do this? Generally speaking, I like to eat afterwards, sort of thing. I just feel if you are hungry, you just play a bit better. Well, it does for me anyway. So that's there. Okay. One of the things you might want to hear about is there's a guy who inspired me. Sadly, he's not with us anymore. His name was Ray Bernard, and Ray basically introduced me to playing melody, because before, if I was doing, say, Bye Bye Blues, yeah, I'd be sort of singing it, Bye Bye Blues, Bye 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 Blues. But what he did, he used the chords and also what we call inversions of those chords. So instead of playing there, I could play up there, which is another way of playing the same chord. And he had this way of doing, and that technique is called pick strum, because you're picking the melody and then you're strumming along just to accompany yourself. Yeah. Sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So I was about 12 years old watching this guy Ray play this sort of Bye Bye Blues with the melody with the pick strum, and he said, well, you've mastered that in 2 weeks, so I have to show you something else. And he showed me the same piece, but he said you can play it a different way, and he showed me this. So that was the sort of ad-lib around the same piece, Bye Bye Blues. And now you could take it to the extreme, which is replacing all the chords with jazz chords. So instead of playing C, I'd play a C6 like this. Instead of playing a dominant 7, I'd play a 9 instead of a 7. And it sounds like this. So we had the pick strum, we had the ad-lib, and then we had the ninth chord. So there's only one thing left to do. That is go faster. Do you think I can go faster? Nod. Do you think I can go faster? Nod. That's it. Okay, so go up a pace. Here we go. question is, do you think I can go any faster? If you think I can go faster, nod. Unk's shaking his head. He's shaking his head. All right, here we go. We're going to go crazy now.
Can see your hand at all there, Peter. That's one thing I was going to ask you as well. How do you protect your fingers? You know how you're shredding so much there. Your nails, do they get worn or torn, or do you varnish them? Or?
Not so much on the wooden uke. When I was playing the banjo uke, yes, they would wear out fairly quickly. I think it was something to do with the tension of the strings and also the action. But for some reason, on the wooden ukulele, it's a lot easier to play and it's a lot less damaging. The only problem that can happen is on the index finger is the pad part can actually get a blister. And if you get a blister there, you've got to kind of stop for a couple of days, because if that blister pops, it'll take 2 weeks to repair, you know. So, and I've never got 2 weeks free. I'm always doing something. So if I was playing that pace for an hour, yes, I'd get a blister there. So you just have to be a little bit careful, and like all things, you get used to sort of feel as to how much is the burn, you know. Can I get away with doing this? Do I need to back off for 10 minutes, you know? So good question. Anyone else with a question?
Peter, the notes are so pure that you're playing.
Thank you.
Again, is that experience? Is it a good ukulele, or how come it sounds so good?
A bit of both, I'd say. There's no replacement for hard work and practice. You know, I mean, it's years and years, 53 years this year for me. And I'm finding things every day, and I try my best to make it as note perfect as I can. Now, if you have got a nice instrument to play, it makes it all that easier for me to kind of concentrate on what I'm doing, and the instrument performs well. If I've got a string that's buzzing on a fret, or it's not playing in tune as I move up the neck, that's hopeless, you know. I mean, because no matter how hard and how much effort I've put in, it can be spoiled by playing a cheaper ukulele that cannot deliver what you want it to, you know. And that goes for any instrument, you know. Guitar, a badly set up guitar is very, very difficult to play. And when I was teaching guitar, teaching students, especially kids, the guitars that the parents were buying them were like the equivalent of $50-$60, yeah, and they were rubbish, absolute rubbish. And the kids were really, really trying to play, so I was constantly trying to convince the parents, if you spend $150, you'll find that your child will become a better player in no time at all, sort of thing. But it was always a battle trying to convince the parents to get a better instrument, you know. So, but
thank you.
There you go.
Thank you, Peter. Well, I reckon, I've got a question from Marta here and also Ray. Marta?
Hi, I come a little bit late. I don't know if that information was given. Did you knew already a lot about music before you started to play ukulele?
No. Basically, the uke was put into my hands by my late father, and everything was learnt by ear. You know, to this day, if you put some music in front of me and you want me to sight read it and play to the way I'm playing, I couldn't do it. So music theory is coming much later in my sort of musical career. So it's only really when you want to share it with somebody to say, this is how I play this piece, we need to write it down to get some sort of foundation, you know. So, and that's what I do for my students. But myself, I never write a piece when I'm working out an arrangement. I never sit down and write it out on paper, then work it out. I'll work it out and then write it down, just so I don't forget it. So, good question. Yeah, so many people depend on music, and it can get very distracting in that you can never do without it. It's like a comfort blanket, and I've seen it so many times. Have I got time to tell you a quick story?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I was asked to help a group out, and they were going to be playing at a ukulele festival going back 5 years ago. and they wanted to play the end of this festival. They wanted to do the Saints Go Marching In. Now, you all know that tune, don't you? Yeah? Okay. So basically, we got C, F, and C, G7 maybe, yeah? A C7 link chord. So 4 chords basically, and the chords the ukulele group knew standing on their heads, right? And I said to them, do you know the lyrics to When the Saints Go Marching In? Oh yeah, we know the lyrics, and we know the chords. Yeah, great. So we're going to close the books. No, we can't close the books. I said, look, if you're going to play a festival, right, and there's other uke groups there, you are going to look wonderful without all those music stands and everything in front. And they basically said, we can't do it. So I set them a challenge. So for the following week, I gave them notice to make sure they knew the 4 chords, and they learnt the lyrics to Saints Go Marching In. A long story short, when they actually played it live, they were looking at the audience. The audience was loving the fact that they weren't hiding behind anything. They were looking directly in the eye. And at the end, what happened was they're all stood up, of course, not sat down. They're stood up. And the one on the far right exited the stage, and the others followed in a line down a staircase, down to the ground level where the audience was, and in between the audience, down the centre of the hall, was a gangway. So they carried on playing When the Saints Go Marching In all the way down this gangway, and the crowd are going absolutely bonkers, because they said, wow, this is just incredible. And all we did was came to the fact, the true fact that you do not need to look at the music if it's just 3-4 chords and 2 or 3 verses. So if they can do it, anybody can do it, and that's my story.
Yeah, it's all right for you, isn't that right? Okay, Ray's got a question for you. Ray Elliott.
Yes, Ray.
You're muted, Ray. You're muted. He's doing his impersonation of a goldfish. There he is. There he is.
Peter.
Hi.
G'day, mate. How you going?
I'm very good, thanks, Ray. What's your question, my friend?
Do you change strings every time you do a session?
So string changing. Now, when I was on tour, I would say every 3 weeks, definitely, because the brightness goes, the treble tends to disappear. So yes, I'm very strict. That said, because I've been at home mainly doing teaching rather than live gigs, I could probably stretch that to 3 months, but I wouldn't go beyond 3 months, because strings need to sound fresh, I think, and again, it just, the sound I like is a very sort of snappy sort of sound. And you only get that with relatively new strings. So
Yep.
Thank you, mate, Peter. Well, we've taken your money's worth. You've gone over money's worth, actually, for us.
Well.
That must be my problem, hey. That must be my problem. I've had my strings for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you're going wrong. You see, if you had new strings, you'd be on the stage, I tell you.
So,
Would you like me to do one to close then? Would you like me to
that's
close?
it. Well, we have one we're all going to sing at the end, but after you. If you could do one more song, then we will finish off and sing our song together. But before you go, Peter, thank you very much for your wonderful performance today. And I'm sure the rest of us here will say it was wonderful, to hear you and to have your advice. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Peter.
everybody. It's been wonderful to see all these smiling faces. It's superb. So I believe this has been recorded, so I can kind of have another look at it, sort of thing, and just see who was kind of going to sleep and who was awake. All right then. So earlier on, I was asked the question about Hava Nagila, and it's a great piece I do in A minor. I'd like to close with it now. Now, there's a place you all have to go, hey. Now, you have to stay muted, but I just want you to do that to the camera or that sort of thing here. Are ready? Are we ready? Bit slow. There's a delay. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Hey. Hey. My name's Mr. Pete Moss. Thank you. Hey.
Hey, thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Peter. That was fantastic.
Well done.
That was great.
Thank you.
Absolutely great.
David Lane, over to you.